A couple of stories this morning, Philip. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
US closed its embassy in Kyiv this morning after it received specific information of a potential significant air attack today. The selling on of anti-personnel mines, which, well, not selling, but the handing over by Joe Biden of anti-personnel mines. Apparently they're banned according to the UN. I'm wondering how that could be possibly done.
Well, they're banned if you've signed up to the convention banning their use. The United States hasn't. Ukraine hasn't. The one thing that there is about anti-personnel mines is that they tend to stay on battlefields after they've been distributed and cause a hazard, in particular to civilians as they go back in again. These particular mines become inactive after a period of time, up to a maximum of 2 weeks, because they rely on a battery to make them work, and that battery is designed to run out of power at a maximum of 2 weeks. Right. So they're safer. But the US and Ukraine haven't signed up to this convention.
That would explain it. I suppose there's not much point in having UN conventions if you're not signed up to them. But, I mean, they're apparently going to leave them on Ukrainian soil, which I imagine is going to be used as some kind of barrier to a Russian invasion force.
Yeah, the Ukrainians will be able to distribute them relatively quickly to stop the Russian attacks. The Russians are using thousands of troops on every day to overwhelm Ukrainian defences, and the Russians are losing up to 2,000 troops a day, and have done for most of this year, which is absolutely ridiculous. But they're still firing more troops through, and this will just help the Ukrainians stop a lot of those troops from getting in, because they're slowly but surely pushing the Ukrainians back.
Well, yesterday, of course, we learned for the first time that Ukraine have used the US missiles, the ones that are 190 range outside of Russia, firing into Russia. It may well be that the British Shadow missiles, which go a bit further, I think, might also be allowed to be fired. What do you think Putin's kind of response will be? We know what he says his response will be. He says it will be a nuclear response, but what do you think?
Well, we've already seen his response. It's his nuclear saber rattling, which I said would happen beforehand. These ATACMS missiles, the first firing of them allegedly happened yesterday, where 6 of them were fired. The Russians have, again, claimed they shot down 5 and damaged 1. They probably haven't hit any of them. They targeted a Russian ammunition depot, and it seems quite successfully. And I think this closing down of the US embassy is Putin's response. He will try and attack Kyiv and will accidentally, in inverted commas, hit the US embassy. So the Americans probably have specific information to suggest that it is being targeted. And we'll see that happening with the international supporters of Ukraine. Putin has got very little areas that he can maneuver in, and therefore is like the petulant little bully in the playground who doesn't know where to go next, so he'll lash out at anything and everything. He won't use nuclear weapons. He'll threaten it, but he won't use them.
Interesting. Philip, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Philip Ingram, MBE, former senior military intelligence officer. They're explaining how America can send those anti-personnel mines to Ukraine. It's because they're not signed up to the UN Convention, and neither are Ukraine. So what's the point? I mean, the United Nations is becoming more and more irrelevant as every day passes.